Hi everybody, I'm Paige Abbott. I'm a registered psychologist in the province of Alberta. I recently did a survey on Instagram about who does regular breathing exercises, and I was quite surprised actually that 100% of people said they did. And for me, I do lots of different forms of self-care, but breathing exercises have been very low on my personal list, to the point where really I just don't do them. I had kind of a pneumonia type infection a few years ago, and during that time was really breathless, really struggled with breathing, and I found that just anything that put focus on my breath kind of triggered some of that unhealthy relationship with breathing, and probably some anxiety and some worry, and it was just a whole mess. So I think that's part of the reason I've avoided breath work, but recently I was one of the lucky millions who contracted COVID. And obviously COVID is a respiratory virus, and so it has had an impact on my breathing and on my lungs. So I thought, well, as part of my recovery, probably need to explore some breathing routines and some breathing exercises. So I've been doing lots of research and reading, listening to videos, and these are some of the exercises that have become my personal favorites that I thought I would share with you, that apparently everyone is already doing breathing exercises, which is fantastic. So if you already are, you can incorporate these into your ongoing routine if you'd like. And if you're not, if you're like me, then these might be some great starting options. One of my favorite breathing exercises that I'll do kind of regularly throughout the day, but I particularly like doing it first thing in the morning, and anytime I'm kind of laying down or resting throughout the day, which again is a kind of symptom of COVID. Usually I'm not a rester during the day, but lo and behold, I've learned the power and the importance of rest. So this exercise is a yogic breathing exercise, and it's recommended that you do it laying down. So you would want to lay kind of flat out. If it's not comfortable for you to lay like really flat, you can still be elevated somewhat. And when you're laying flat, what you're going to do is for 25 breaths, you're going to breathe in through your nose for 2 counts, and then out through your nose or your mouth if you prefer. I don't really notice much difference myself. So exhale for 4 counts. So this is sort of a different type of breathing where you're much more focused on that exhalation process. And there's a lot of power to learning how to exhale fully and properly, because that releases the carbon dioxide from our bodies and really allows us to own the richness of that oxygen that we're inhaling. So again, that would be an inhale for 2 counts, exhale for 4 counts. Inhale for 2, exhale for 4. And again, doing that for 25 breaths, doing it slowly at your own pace. There's no rush with these things. I found for me personally, doing that 2 to 4 count breathing took about 10 minutes or so when I did it in conjunction with this next exercise. If you were just doing it on your own, probably takes about 3 to 5 minutes, though I haven't really been timing myself. Another yogic breathing exercise is to do the equal breathing. So this would be breathing in for the same count that you're breathing out. I personally like the number 4 for this one. It felt good to breathe in for 4 and out for 4. Excuse me. See, it moves stuff around. In for 4 and out for 4. And again, the recommendation would be to do that for 25 counts. It's a really nice way to just regulate that breathing, tell our bodies and our brains we're getting that oxygen rich in our lungs and in our bodies. And I personally found that the 2 to 4 ratio breathing, and you can actually do that with any count. It's just you want the exhale to be twice as long as the inhale. So if you feel more comfortable, you can do a 3-second inhale followed by a 6-second exhale. You could even do longer if you wanted. You could do 4-second inhale, 8-second exhale. You could do shorter. You could do 2, I guess 2 and 4 is what we were doing. I don't know if you'd want to do 1 and 2. That might get you almost hyperventilating, but you can play around with the timing that works best for you. But what I was saying is that I found that breathing in particular actually really helped with the anxiety that was coming up for me. I've struggled with anxiety throughout my life. Typically it's existed in kind of my gastrointestinal area, so that kind of nervous tummy is something that I've had so often throughout my life I can't even count how many times. But this time I was noticing, kind of with that focus on my breathing and my breath, that the anxiety was also impacting my breathing. And I think it's just something kind of magical about the counting as well. That focusing on counting for 2, then counting for 4, it really helped to settle my anxiety. Often I would find I kind of started to drift off doing that breathing. I would then wake up and go, oh, I'm doing my breathing exercises right, and keep going with that. So those yogic breathing exercises I found really helpful. And the third breathing exercise that I've been finding really helpful for both anxiety as well as for physical recovery is the pursed lip breathing. So what this involves is taking a nice big inhale through your nose and exhale through pursed lips through your mouth. And the recommendation I saw was doing that for about 1 minute. To be honest, I don't really keep track. I can't count, so I will do the 25 count. But for timing, I don't really like to time myself, so I've been doing it for, anywhere from 5 to 10 breaths, sometimes a little bit more. Really focusing on your needs and your body. So I think if we can do these things regularly, even just a couple of times per day, it just helps to regulate our breathing. It's important to do these exercises while at rest. You saw me laying down for a couple of them. But you may also really want to be more focused on your breath while doing activity, including while exercising. And if you're exercising on your own, I might recommend that you even just do a few videos on YouTube, or perhaps do a session or 2 with an instructor who can just coach you in how to breathe properly while you're exerting yourself. Because I think often, especially when we're exerting, our breathing tends to kind of mismatch from the level of exertion that we're doing. So a lot of people, they breathe quite shallowly and may not be getting the level of intake of oxygen or that exhale of carbon dioxide that they're really needing to. So working on these things, I know it can be a bit odd to think about training ourselves to do something that seems to come so naturally, like breathing. But like with anything, we can fall into some unhealthy patterns with it. And I know for myself, I'm a very shallow breather while exerting, but also even while at rest. And I could get into probably a whole long story about where I think that comes from. But that's neither here nor there for the purposes of this video. That all you need to know is that you may also have fallen into some unhealthy patterns with your breathing as well, which might include that shallow or very rapid breathing, which is common for people who struggle with anxiety, as well as even conditions like people pleasing. And I think that's where some of mine may be rooted in, and it might be true for you as well, that you're so not wanting to disturb the environment and the people around you that even your breathing changes to compensate for that. So I would also encourage you to just own that you are worthy of that breath. And I think some of the breathing techniques that incorporate sort of that louder breath, like the pursed exhale breathing that we were doing, are good for that. There's even the humming that you can do. So inhaling through the nose and then exhaling with a hum. And just letting that breathing go. That's one that I haven't developed very well personally, but it is one that I kind of feel like I'm building towards as I build up some comfort and strength with these breathing exercises. So as you can hear, this is pretty raw stuff for me. I haven't got it all figured out by any means. Many of you are probably more experts on your breath and breath work than me. And I just wanted to share some tidbits that have come up for me in my journey. I have spent quite a bit of time doing some reading and doing some practice recently, and these are the ones that I'm finding personally quite helpful and wanted to share and pass along to you. I wish you all the best in your continued journey of health and wellness. I hope that there are some tidbits from this video that you can take away for yourself, and some inspiration to keep you going in your journey. I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you soon. It's nice to be back. I've missed doing these videos, and I've missed being able to connect this way. So I'm really grateful that my health is building, partially, I think, thanks to some of these breathing exercises to be able to do this. So take care. Bye for now.